Hey, it's Allie and welcome to day 11, December daily. Today I am working on the back of this card from day 10, as well as looking at using a 4-pocket 3x4 for this other page here. My story today is just about kind of a quiet Saturday and wrapping presents. I printed out some journaling that just kind of talked about the day. This is on a 4x6 journal card set that I have. I kind of want to see where the holes are going to punch, if that's going to bug me right on the 11. I might have to make some adjustments to that. And then over here, what you can see that I did so far, I printed out a 4x6 photo that I took of myself wrapping presents downstairs just with a timer on my camera, and printed it with a white border, and then I just cut it in half and put the two sides in the one pocket. And I think that's going to work fine for the story. I thought about another picture, but this one doesn't relate as much to the wrapping. And then I still have this 11 that I may or may not use yet. I'm not sure. It's probably going to depend on what happens with this part over here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to see how this ends up fitting, how the journaling fits on the back of this card. Let's deal with that first. You can see that I printed it out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I print it on a 4x6. It just kind of depends on what's happening and what paper I have and that kind of thing as well. I'm going to do the same thing that I did a couple days ago, which was I cut two sides of it before I adhere it so that I can make sure that it's more true to size of this. Let's find my adhesive here. Okay, let's just kind of take a look, since this is kind of going to be a, well, maybe I shouldn't glue it down until I trim it, and then we can see where that hole is, because the hole is going to be right in that 11. I just need to decide if I care or not about that. I could probably do some editing in Photoshop and move it over, or I could just fill it in and then have something else on the bottom there, or move it over a little bit. Now I'm just kind of talking to myself as I think about what I want to do. I think what I want to do is I think I'm going to reprint it again, move it over just a little bit in Photoshop, and then fill in that space. So I'm going to go take care of that. Okay, so I reprinted it and moved it over in Photoshop. And for those of you that are wondering, basically what I did is I just moved this layer over, you know, from the edge, and then I used the eyedropper tool to grab the green color, and then I just made a new box to fill in that space so that when I punch the holes, it won't be touching the number 11 itself. So that was a good solution there. Let's go ahead and cut two sides again, and then we'll adhere it to the back of this other piece. Okay, so here's the card. And I usually just go around the outside edge. I'm using Scotch dot and roller, which is, again, that's the one that my preferred one. Okay, and I think, I mean, you can either just run it on the, I can just run it on here. I was thinking I would use scissors, but I think it doesn't really matter. Okay, so as you can see, fairly close to the edges there. Let's see, where's my... A couple people have mentioned too some other tools besides the Crocodile. I guess there's some other one, another hole punch one that works pretty good and that cuts through lots of things. So somebody mentioned it on the Facebook group the other day. So I ordered it, and I'll test it out when it gets here to see. Supposedly it punches bigger holes too, which sounds good for what I want. Okay, so pretty, you know, tight margins. I would say I probably could make it a little bit smaller, but I think that this will be fine in terms of having, you know, including the story that I want to tell. I could put another tab on the edge. It's kind of just what I do usually on these. I think I will, because I think it feels funny to me to not have it have an index tab along the edge. And then over here, let's see, I'm trying to decide if I want to find a green card to put in there instead of that one, and I could use that on a different day. I kind of feel like I like having a few other green things on there. Let's see what I'll say in my card stash here. These are just cards from either the main kit or from one of the other kits, one of the other mini kits. That one's kind of fun. And I could probably put something on there. I want to link the green is really what I'm doing here. And I think that one would work great as a pattern. That one's from one of the Pam Garrison mini kit. So let's do that instead. And the Awesome Spirit of the Season can get used on another day. I think I'll just put it over with my stash of stuff here. And then I'm gonna see what other embellishment that I might wanna use. Actually, I'm gonna take a minute and look through. I do have some stars that are from the surprise story kit this month. It could just be something like that that then also gets repeated over on this day too. I'm pulling the, yeah, like that. And then maybe up there on the top for my third star, something like this. I like to have 3 elements of 3 there. And then I'm gonna figure out what kind of stamp I'm gonna put on the card. I like fill in the blank kinds of cards like that. So we're gonna just stick this guy right here, kind of right along the edge there. And I like, it's nice to have simple, you know, I think sometimes, I mean, I do a combination of things in here and most people do a combination, but even just in terms of choosing the embellishments, you know, or a pattern like that, that is just kind of fun and a nice pop of color that's bringing everything together is what I like about that guy. Okay, so we have that one, and so then let's add, this could also be added to the outside of the page too, but I think I'm gonna put this guy just right here on top of the photo itself. And now I'm going to look at my stamps and see if I have something that I want to fit in there. Maybe one of these guys off the December star one. Or I also have the number stamp set that had all the, I could just do the story on there and then maybe put in the date stamp. I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna see what my green ink options are. We'll take care of that and then I'll pop back on here. Okay, I'm actually gonna use, I have some new ink colors that are gonna be coming out soon here. I don't know the exact date, but one of them is a green and this one is called Lammet. And so I'm gonna use that on here for the story. Actually, let's just, I want to test it out here first on a piece of paper. A lot of times when I do a stamp like this, and especially if it's a new ink, I kind of want to see what's happening with it. Yeah, there's a green. I think that's, there we go. Okay. Alright. So I'm just going to put this right in the center of the space, or, you know, close enough. There we go. And then I am going to use the date stamp. Just another opportunity to add that on there. and just use the black ink. It also just fits right in that space there. And just check off the box, wrapping presents, and also shopping for gifts because that's included in there. And then I want some other something to go in that space. Let's see, what else do I have here? Even maybe one of these little silver stars or something like that. Let's see. I could stamp a star in there, but I kind of like the idea of having some other little embellishment. Let's see. Yeah, probably not that star. Maybe even the yellow one, though. That was one that I had. Or there's also, I had other colors. Yellow ones are also from the surprise kit, actually. What if we did? Maybe a yellow and a red? Yeah, just red. And I'm just gonna staple that on there, I think. See if I see anything else in my little collection of stuff. Another thing that might fit there is a word sticker. So before I do that, which is green also, let's see. Even just be merry. I wonder if that fits in there. And it does. So I'm gonna just get that a little closer to the center. Again, not every day has to be, you know, a big creative endeavor. A lot of times it's just documenting, you know, something that's happening, something that's going on, something, you know, even in those quiet days too. So again, the longer story over on the side there. Let's go ahead and add the index tab. On here. And I just generally center or attempt to center them on here. All right, and then last but not least, I will add on a stamp. And so it needs to be something that applies to that around the house side as well as the other one. Okay, so let's come back to the phrase stamp and see what we got here. I think I'm gonna do "'Tis the Season" and "Love the Season." Let me do my two choices here. Get the story back over onto the other one. Okay, so let's just go with black again. And then "'Tis the Season." All right, so there we go. We've got a the journal card for my story for today, paired with a photo of myself that I took of myself, just using the self-timer on my camera. Just a pattern card with the star on top, which kind of links the colors together, right? We've got the red and the green over here, and then one of the cards from the main kit, just simple, the story clicking off what things were happening that day, and then the Be Merry sticker from the main kit there. All right, we'll see you guys back here again tomorrow.